Hello, and welcome back to Victoria 3. We're playing as the United States. It's been about an hour since I recorded the first episode. I went and ate dinner, and we're already testing my ability to remember what's going on between recording sessions here. This is a very complicated game. There's a lot of moving parts. I believe, so Texas had just lost their war to Mexico, so we're going to have to deal with that. We were going to go to war with Mexico probably 3, 4, 5 times anyway, because we're planning on conquering the entire country, not just the, Now my mind is blanking. What's the name of the treaty that ended the war in 1848, 1849, whenever that was? 1847? No, I can't remember. Anyway, we're working on banning slavery in 1837. That's kind of insane, but, you know, I'm not going to not take advantage of this part of the game being particularly easy. We are working on colonizing all of this land. The game appears to be like a little framey, choppy. I don't know if that's just me. Everything looks good on OBS. I didn't notice that happening when I was recording the first episode. Maybe it's just my imagination. Once we colonize all this, I want to start moving into Africa, because the European powers are already present. Portugal, the UK, and France, the Netherlands, France, Denmark, are all down here. Now, Portugal is moving comically slowly. 6,966 days. That will take them over 20 years to not establish a colony in this entire state, to establish a colony in this province. So they're having some issues. That's okay. I've been wondering why every game I play, France gets an absurd amount of Africa, despite the fact that they have malaria. And I thought it was just because there was something that caused them to trigger uprisings. Now, if you aren't aware, when you're colonizing, there's tension between you and the people who live in the land you're colonizing. It's not just empty land, obviously. You know, there's people who live there. And it can lead to an uprising, and a war will start between you and the indigenous nation. And if you win that war, you just instantly colonize the whole area. So it's actually good, which I think this is one of the things they need to change. Like, it should not be good for a war to start, and you shouldn't, even if you win the war, like in real life, obviously lots of wars were fought between the United States and various Native American tribes, European powers, hundreds, thousands of different African tribes and powers and nations, whatever you want to call them. Excuse me. And even though in the 90% of the time the Western power won, that didn't mean they just, okay, now everything's happy, we all get along, the land is immediately under our control. You still have to, like, dedicate time and resources to surveying the land, establishing, like, government offices, controlling the frontier. You know, maybe you control the coast, that doesn't mean you control all the way up to wherever. So that I would say is one of my #1 complaints about the game right now. We don't have... Who is France's ruler, by the way? Is Louis Napoleon the president at this time? I believe he is. Yes. He's a... Was he king? My French history is... So was he king and then became president? I thought he was president and then became king. Clearly he's a king here. I don't know if he's... I assume he did. It's only been like 5 years. So yeah, I probably... Actually, it hasn't even been 2 years. Excuse me. I was thinking it started in 1832 for some reason. It starts in 1836. Yeah, so he must start as a king. I mean, France has had like 17 different republics and empires and kingdoms and shit. I can't keep them all straight. So he has the expert colonial administrator. That is broken. Like, okay, so Victoria obviously has a regular colonial administrator. That's still really good, but I can buy that. And I'm sure that the part of this is to ensure that the UK and France get a large chunk of Africa every time to try to maintain some level of historical accuracy. I understand that, but it's very frustrating as a player. I didn't expect to spend so much at the start of this video, so much time talking about colonies in Africa. It's very frustrating as a player to watch France eat 2/3 of the continent before you're even allowed to participate. Because we all have to wait, and we don't have to wait, but like realistically we have to wait until we discover malaria prevention, which isn't going to happen until like the 1870s at best. France is already working through this, and they, I mean, like, technically they do have the minus 90% for malaria, but they have plus 40%, so they're moving so much faster than everyone else. Anyway, we're not going to worry about that for quite some time. If we don't get African colonies, that's okay. We can always come over here. Really, rubber is the main thing, because we have so much oil. We have oil out the ass. I believe the United States has the most oil in the world in this game, because I played all the way through 1936 as Brazil. Oil never appeared in the Middle East. Some of it appeared in Libya. There's quite a bit on Borneo. There's actually a ton in Bolivia. I was playing as Brazil, and I had Peru Bolivia as a puppet, and then in the 1920s, I was like, oh, I gotta annex you, because I need your oil. It's not going to show up yet, I would assume, yeah. But there's, in Santa Cruz and La Paz, there's 30 oil fields in each, which is huge. Now, there is an issue. Remember when I said I wasn't going to keep the game paused? There is an issue with the AI right now. The AI is really bad at developing and using resources that are not present at the beginning of the game. AI is pretty good at managing their economy now, but rubber won't start to appear for like a couple more decades. Oil won't start to appear for like 50 more years. The AI never builds rubber or oil, at least not nearly to the degree that they should be doing it. Like, those two things should be like dominating the late game economy. And so far, the AI doesn't take advantage of them at all. And in fact, and that's why I had to conquer or annex Peru, Bolivia as Brazil, even though they were already my puppet and in my market, because there's no foreign investment mechanic. Which in today's dev diary, they said they were planning on adding that in a future free patch, hopefully like within the next 2-3 months. They didn't add the 2-3 months. That's my part, but I'm just hoping that's how quickly it is. So that would allow you to like actually influence what's being built in countries in your market, especially a direct puppet like this situation was with me. So I wouldn't have had to have conquered these people. I could have just said, hey, build your oil fields. You're already in my market. You can reap the profits. I just need access to the oil. But they weren't building oil, so I had to conquer them to build the oil fields. Anyway, we've had enough of a delay. We are going to go back down to speed 4 for now. We're going to unpause. We're going to hope that we ban slavery on our first run through. We have 100% legitimacy, so we're running pretty fast on these checkpoints. It looks like every 150 days or so. We have a fugitive slave. A slave belonging to John Calhoun, who is the leader of the Southern Planters, excuse me, has escaped his estate and fled to the Northern Free State, or a Northern Free State. Calhoun has demanded his return, but abolitionists are calling for his demands to be ignored. There are a few things I care about more than justice. If a man loses his jacket, it's only natural that it be returned to him. I simply ask, what is mine be returned to me? Why is this causing such an uproar? Alright, so we could piss off everyone. Okay, we unlock canneries. I'm going to pause because I don't want to waste time not having research going. We could piss off everyone, but please the planters, return the slave. Of course I'm not going to do that. Free soil makes anyone free. John Calhoun will get no help from the government. And now, where do we want to go? We could get a prestige boost, but I don't like that. We are solidly well, actually I say solidly. We're 80 above where we need to be to maintain our great power status. So 5% prestige would be nice, but by expanding west, we're going to gain so much prestige, and we're eventually going to build up a professional army, which will massively boost our prestige, so I'm not really worried about it. Cash reserves, we're not making money, so I don't need to worry about expanding our cash reserves at the moment. Do we have access to... No. Minting and loan rate is always really good to take, but I believe we'll stick with the production. Or we actually, let's look at our military tag. We haven't really looked at this yet. Naval stuff I don't really tend to pay attention to, although port level is actually very nice because it increases the max infrastructure effectively without you having to build railroads, which are expensive. Obviously only for coastal states. Extra conscriptable battalions, again, we're not really going to be relying on a conscript army, even though that is our current model. So it would help us immediately, but we probably aren't getting into a war in the next few years, and I plan on changing our military model very soon. I think rifling is going to be huge. Now, this is going to dramatically increase our costs as we expand our military if we switch to skirmish infantry, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. And we have so much capacity. We are not running any consumption taxes. We're on low taxes. We have a lot of capacity to increase our income if necessary. Right now, I believe we're working on iron is very expensive. Yeah, we're spending more on iron than all of our other construction materials combined. Luxury furniture just like cut in half. Luxury clothes are still expensive. I tend not to really care about the price of luxury goods early on, or really for 80% of the game, to be honest with you, just because it only affects a very small amount of our population. Tools and iron are very expensive. That's what we're going to be working on dealing with. We're currently dramatically expanding our tooling industry. Iron, we've expanded quite a bit, but you can see we're just spending so much, or buying so much. So, to that I say, let's get some more iron going. And I believe I said West Virginia and Virginia were where I were going to be building my iron mines. Let's put, honestly, let's throw 5 down in West Virginia. Now, if there's a civil war and West Virginia leaves, that could be a problem. But that's a problem for future me. Hopefully there's not a civil war. Hopefully, in 15 days we ban slavery. That would be amazing. It's unlikely, but in my Korea game, I enacted agrarianism with an 8% chance. So it can happen. Nope. And we didn't even get in an event to like increase the thing. Whatever. I'm not super worried about it. Insufficient taxation capacity. I believe we have a government admin queued up. Yes, after our tooling workshops. We're building these whaling stations just for a journal entry that is probably not really going to work out, but it expires in 7 years. So I wanted to at least give it a shot. We need to get a level 3 whaling industry that has a cash reserve over 25%, more than 75% of its work or employees are employed, and it has a profit. Right now, it does technically fulfill those, I think. No, it doesn't have a profit. Also, wait, why are we... Yeah, I don't want to build more. Where are we building these? Oh, wait, are those fishing? I might have been clicking on... Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay, so yeah, they are turning a profit. They are fully employed, and they have cash reserves, but it's only level 1. If we're tripling the capacity here, I can't imagine there's enough demand. Clippers are also kind of expensive. We should look into what's our shipyard looking like. We don't have very many shipyards at all. I think that's a good industry for Maine, because I can't imagine Maine's going to have too much going on. Let's get... I mean, we're going to need ships. Let's add at least 2 to you to start off with. And honestly, let's drop the whaling stations to after the shipyards. Just because I care more about this iron. We have high tensions with all of these indigenous tribes. That's never going to go away until we take over the land. It's just the cost of being an empire. Paper is quite expensive. We should look into expanding our paper, because we are buying a lot of paper for our government administrations, and we've been building more government administrations, so it's just going to go up. Clippers, we're addressing the issue. Fabric, we could stand to expand fabric, potentially through cotton, I would say. That would give us a chance to grow industry in the south. We have banned slavery. All right. Abraham Lincoln. Oh, he was not the leader of the intelligentsia, was he? Before? Wasn't it Henry Clay? Or was he a different... Yeah, I swear it was Henry Clay. I wonder if that automatically changes when you ban slavery, or if that was just a coincidence. Yeah, it was definitely Henry Clay, unless I'm having a stroke. Oh yeah, so they're very happy with me. The trade unions are very happy. The only people that are upset are the Southern Planters, and the Southern Planters could start a civil war over this. They're radicalized. They are below -10 approval, which is the threshold to start a civil war, but I don't think they're going to be powerful enough, although they are quite powerful. But you can see they dropped from 1st to 3rd, and if we can keep slavery banned for, 10 years? Yeah. Then we will lose the Missouri Compromise modifier, which gives them plus 25% strength. So they'll actually drop like another 4 or 5% after that. And they should just continue to drop because we don't really have a system in place that, a lot of countries start with like a monarchy, which obviously favors the landowners. Smaller distributions of power favor the landowners, I think. Maybe not. You would assume landed owning or landed voting would favor landowners. This favors the devout group, which in the United States is called the evangelicals. So we don't have to deal with a lot of the problems that other countries have to deal with in terms of removing the landowners and the devout from power. But we do have the slavery thing, which is kind of our version of that. I don't know why the evangelicals are down here. Shouldn't they be between the industrialists and the petite bourgeoisie? Excuse me. Whatever. All right, iron coming online. This is the one in West Virginia, so it's like not even there. Maybe we should be playing on speed 5. Let's play on speed 5. We've been playing for over an hour. We've gotten through 2 years. I just thought speed 4 might be easier for people who are watching to keep up with. Everyone is pretty happy with this. A lot of people, actually, 3 of ours are very happy with this. We're getting like the super multiplier. We're getting plus 2% birth rate, plus 20% infrastructure, and plus 50% migration attraction. But the planters, or the landowners, I'm going to call them both, because like their generic name is the landowners, but their U.S. specific name is the Southern Planters. They're reducing our tax income, which is annoying. Anyway, I was about to expand our cotton industry. Especially now that these guys are going to have to work the fields themselves. We have a lot of peasants in a lot of these states. I'm trying to think of like where are we unlikely. I mean, let's start with Mississippi. I'm trying to think like where are we unlikely to have like other industries. So like iron we could do in Alabama, coal we could do in Mississippi and Louisiana. So maybe I should expand it in like Arkansas or Tennessee or something. It doesn't really matter. I think there's enough people there to compensate for whatever we're trying to do. So this is obviously the biggest area, but we have 5 different colonists working here at the same time. I think probably the Pawnee will finish first, and then we can start working on Abrasoka. The British... Ooh. The British lost a war? Hold on. So we unlocked psychiatry, which is giving us influence and lowering the cost of our bureaucracy per population. The British were trying to puppet Burma, and they lost. That's another thing I don't like, or I wish would change about the game, is I wish that you could see past wars and like look at their stats, who was involved, how many people died, blah blah blah. Because now I don't know why it doesn't make sense that the British would have lost this war, but they did. I mean, it must have just like I bet the British just like were being lazy about it and not actually sending enough troops. And I bet the East India Company wasn't involved for some reason. So Burma was just getting like a ticking war score, and eventually the British war support dropped low enough that they were willing to accept a peace that effectively doesn't affect them. Like, I mean, they're going to have to pay war reps, but they'll get over it. Indian removal. In accordance with the removal treaty, it's time for the Cherokee of Tennessee to relocate to the Indian Territory. Some holdouts refuse to leave their homes, and many are poorly equipped for their journeys. We could coerce them by bayonet point and move Cherokee peasants to Oklahoma, or we could offer them some assistance. So we could basically, like, reduce the amount of people who die. We're going to spend... Oh my god, our money went way up. That has to be because we banned slavery, right? We're taxing more people are buying stuff. That's the only thing I can think of. Well, let's pay them. I actually didn't notice how good our money was doing, so No, it's because we built all those iron mines. And now iron went from... We went from spending 20k a month on iron to less than 10k. Less than 5k. Wow, we like more than quartered it. So now we're working on expanding our... Damn, we're building fast. Okay, I'm gonna have to get used to how fast we're building. We expanded our whaling stations. You are basically fully employed. You are technically profitable. So... But your cash reserves need to go over 25%, which they're going up, so maybe we'll see. I'm not convinced that you're going to stay profitable. Yeah. Although, what about our new shipyards? Are they online? They are. You're hiring. Wood and fabric. Fabric's a little expensive, but we are building cotton to address that. Honestly, let's build one more. And then we're going to have to figure out where we're going to go. Yeah, we have unused construction. What are we going to do from here? I think paper is going to be really good. Glass is always good, especially when we want to get to steel frame buildings, which will be a bit, but what are we using coal for? Alright, let's build some paper mills and some coal mines. I think New Jersey can be our paper hub. Honestly, let's pump out like 5 of you. Maybe one less. This is another complaint. Again, all of these are like minor nitpicks, but just will generally improve the quality of the life of the game. I hate that you can't remove a build order from this screen. Like, this is where most of the building should be done, but oftentimes I find myself having to go to the state itself because I want to take away like one building. Coal. Oh, LOL. When I said Virginia and West Virginia are like the iron hubs of America, I meant coal, not... Okay. Yeah, you can see West Virginia has 80. I mean, Kentucky and Pennsylvania also. Kentucky is actually... We should absolutely go crazy with coal in Kentucky, because they're not going to have a lot of other opportunity for industry. I want to drop you one level. Okay. Oh, okay. That makes so much more sense. The reason our construction costs went down is because we like ran out. We just weren't building. A lot of our buildings didn't have things to build. Andrew Jackson has challenged Thomas Jessup, who is a member of the armed forces. I don't think he's the leader of the armed forces. That's yeah, Winfield Scott. To a duel to the death. The sitting president of the United States has challenged... Oh, wait. What the hell? When did this happen? Did he, like, resign? I'm confused. Because he was definitely president before we banned slavery. Banning slavery must trigger some changes in the political parties. So I guess Andrew Jackson is replaced by John Calhoun, and Abraham Lincoln replaces Henry Clay, like when slavery's banned, or maybe it's just like a set of weird coincidences. This guy kind of looks like Teddy Roosevelt, portrayed by Robin Williams, only with like a much starker jawline. Anyway, I wish it was the sitting president of the United States challenging someone to a duel to the death. That would just be very strange. I mean, I'm gonna let them because it would be nice to see Andrew Jackson die. What's your popularity? You're disliked. So that actually. Oh wait, you were part of the rural folk. My bad. Not the southern planters. But still, why? But you were president though. And now, like, the planters were more influential, yet a rural folk president was in charge, and now they're less influential than the rural folk, yet we have a planter president. Whatever. Anyway, let them fight. Okay, Andrew Jackson won. Nothing good can ever happen. But, we have an election coming up, fairly soon. December 7th, 1840. It's this year, and the thing still hasn't picked up. Oh, we've got the Ripper. Alright. The Times newspaper reports a series of horrific murders. Jesus. Alright. What is happening? The game doesn't want to let me run it unpaused. We got Bessemer process. We can make more steel, which we should do eventually. And we can lead to some more technologies. Rifling, I definitely want for our arms industries. I'm gonna switch that over immediately, and we're probably gonna have to swap some things around to make that more affordable for them. They're gonna consume more. They're gonna consume a lot more steel. Well, that's actually good because we need a reason to increase our steel production. And you could go to Bessemer process, which will consume more iron but produce more steel. So it's just kind of all this like self-fulfilling prophecy, which means we're going to have to produce the screaming because of the Jack the Ripper. We need more iron. There's too many things on my screen. I guess I can minimize this. Let's go ahead and I like to have even numbers just because I'm not even as in like 2, 4, 6, but even as in like 5, 10, 15, 20. Basically, you know, intervals of 5. I should have just said that because I'm a weirdo. And not that it's that weird, like, I feel like a lot of people are that way. Not to go full, like, I'm not like the other girls. Anyway, the Times newspaper reports a series of horrific murders in New York. According to the article, the police are powerless to stop the murderer who they have dubbed the New York Ripper. The ragged old market is full of police lights and pickpockets. The corpse lay face down on the street. There's a long, dark stain that has been following... First of all, Mexico's borders just changed. Did they conquer something? They're colonizing, you pieces of shit. The inspector moves closer. Long dried, the red becomes lighter near the head. Move the body. He moves closer again, butchered, fetid. The smell won't leave the street for days. There's more inside the outside of that woman. More inside than outside of that woman to see now. Closer, closer. Long dried, butchered, fetid, repulsive. We must bring the killer to justice. So New York gets plus 20% radicals from standard of living decrease for 19 years! Bruh! So this is just like an ongoing event change. There's not really anything we can do about it as far as I understand. We just wait on the events. And some pretty... I've seen people post online that, like, in one of their games, Abraham Lincoln was the murderer. That would be pretty funny. We never started about new research. Water tube boiler, furniture, tooling, paper mills, steel mills. I mean, that's just all good. I don't really like nitroglycerin, but I love dynamite. Because nitroglycerin leads to deaths, whereas dynamite does not. So, mechanized workshops. I feel like water tube boiler is very good. But also we should probably just backfill these that we don't have. This is spreading a little bit, so I'm going to go crystal glass. Because glass, last I checked, was overpriced in our market. Alright, so we've gotten rid of a lot of these expensive goods. West Virginia, New York, and Virginia are now low on market access. Virginia... Just max out your port, to be honest with you. Same in New York, if it's not already. Why is yours maxed at 4, but yours is maxed at... Do you have a state modifier? Plus 20% building electricity output. Okay, so keep that in mind. We want to do our electricity production here. I should actually look at our state modifiers. The problem is there's so many fucking states. So, pardon my language. Yeah, plus 2 max port level. That's awesome. Okay. You get whaling industry throughput and hardwood throughput. Same for you. Hardwood. You also have a natural harbor. Hardwood, whaling industry. Hardwood, whaling industry. Alright, now that I know the symbols, at least, maybe it'll be easier to read. Newark Harbor, kind of the same as the New York Harbor, I guess. Ohio rivers, extra infrastructure. Appalachian Mountains give you coal mine, but reduce infrastructure and construction efficiency. Nothing in the forgettable states. Same. I just, like, so the electricity one is the big one so far. Floridian wetlands. Sulfur, okay, so we should build our sulfur in Florida, maybe. Iowa had a lot of sulfur too, but... The Mississippi River gives us extra infrastructure. I'm assuming California will have some big stuff. Texas probably has some big stuff. Maybe not. Maybe Texas will get like something for oil later on. California gets minus 10% infrastructure, agricultural throughput, and logging throughput, but worse construction efficiency. You get a bunch of nothing because you have a desert. Alright, I think that's pretty much it. So just keep that in mind for like 40 years, 50 years from now when we start to make electricity. We want to do it in New York. We can go back up to speed 5. I just lowered it because I thought that event was about to disappear before I could read all of it, and then I just wound up pausing the game anyway. The Progressive Party... the Progressive Party has been founded. The Intelligentsia and the Rural Folk. So the Rural Folk have uncoupled themselves from the Southern Planters. They are no longer... Ooh. They are still led by Andrew Jackson, who is now a radical. Andrew Jackson is promoting universal suffrage, protected speech, and guaranteed liberties. What the hell is going on? Alright. Well, he's probably going to die soon. He's 73. Well, I say soon. I've had so many, specifically generals. Oh, okay. This is actually good for us. Again, it shouldn't be good, but given the current state of the game, this is good. So, this starts a diplomatic play. This is the first diplomatic play we've seen. Again, I'm not going to like go super into detail here. But basically, this is how countries can perform hostile actions on each other. They don't have to always be hostile, but most of them are. And it is meant to emphasize diplomacy over just warfare, although they often lead to warfare. Both sides spend a little bit of time making their demands. Then there's a middle period where we can... I don't want this. I want this. So yeah, this is where just the opening moves are made. It's just us. And then this big middle period, we can make demands, add goals. I can already do that now. We could potentially try to sway other countries in. No one is going to help them because no one cares, sorry to say. So we're going to be fine. There's nothing else for us to do because we're taking over their whole country. So we can't add any more goals. But if we weren't taking their whole country, we could add goals like ban slavery, open up your market, become a puppet, whatever. And then there's this final period where it's basically just like giving both sides just time to decide if they actually want to go through with war, or you can back down. Which only... Whoa. They're trying to conquer the whole damn West. That's really funny. So if we back down, we only give them their primary war goal. But obviously we will not be backing down. They might back down, but I believe the AI is programmed to not... honestly, let's just mobilize both of you. We'll put you here and you here. I believe the AI is programmed to back down less frequently in situations where it's like an existential crisis. Like the Great Sioux Nation will no longer exist if we win. What just happened? Alright, well, Great Sioux Nation backs down. Forget everything I just said. I mean, there was no way they were going to win. But yeah, so I'm assuming when I unpause, this will... There it is. I was about to say, is there like a bug? What's going on? So yeah, now we just get all that land. It's not a good mechanic. Like, now that all it did was save us time and money because we provoked a war. So now we have, you can see we're colonizing much, much faster because we were using so many there. And we're going to start colonizing here. I'm going to start colonizing in Oklahoma. And I could even colonize, like, down here in Argentina or on the west coast of Africa. I might start colonizing on the west coast, actually. Just to, like, have a presence here. No, this does have the malaria modifier. I want the state, thank you. I could do it, but, like... they're gonna beat me. And there's, at least these states specifically don't really have anything I care about getting. I mean, they have iron. I have so much iron. Really, like I said earlier, what I would need from colonies would be rubber. Now, we could place an interest elsewhere. We could remove, like, our Andes interest. And is Liberia a thing? Do you exist? Okay, you are our puppet. Or you're our protectorate, excuse me. That's why you're not blue. So I could place an interest, like, down here. And I think I'm gonna do that. Just to try to... Actually, no. I'm gonna go here. And I'm gonna try to cut through the Congo. It's going to be difficult, and we're almost certainly going to get cut off by France and the UK, but probably mainly France. We have a disappearing interest in the Andes, that's okay. Ecuador, Bolivia, Peru, don't do anything I wouldn't do. A radical expansion. They thought the idea of the Progressive Party has been raising interest throughout the country, leading to potential turmoil. So we could give momentum to the... Alright. I guess there was a short timer because the election was coming up. I didn't even get to see my options, but the Progressive Party went sicko mode in the election. So we're going to have to rearrange our government, and I'm happy to do it. Well, actually, we don't have to. But we can get rid of the Democrats, which I'm eager to do. I would say we should bring in probably the industrialists. You endorse, why can't I say words, man? You endorse laissez-faire and free trade, which I would like to move towards later down the line. Private health insurance, private schools, I think those are good steps away from what we have now. The armed forces are another potential... you endorse a professional army, which I really want. And per capita taxation, which I really want. So I actually think I'm going to bring the armed forces into the government here. It's going to lower our legitimacy a little bit, but that's okay. Because 90% is still really high. And this will give us a better chance of passing things like a professional army. In fact, it's the only thing giving us any chance of passing it. Rural folk and... I mean, rural folk are marginalized, so pissing them off doesn't matter. If an interest group is under 5% clout, they no longer can enact their penalties and bonuses based on their approval of you, and I believe they can't start a revolution because they're just too weak. Rural folk will not like it, but they will learn to get over it, and we have to. This is non-negotiable. This is absolutely necessary if we're going to ever hope to do anything beyond the contiguous United States. So now we're colonizing in Oklahoma to try to compete with Mexico down here. We should probably... Oh, never mind. For some reason I thought we didn't have... Also, did one of our generals die? I think they did. Yeah, the Dixie guy died. The guy we just hired. All right. Well, William Schubrick. You were the guy I rejected last time, I think. Welcome aboard. Everyone gets their chance eventually. Indian removal. So this is the same event, just in North Carolina instead of Tennessee. I will offer them some support. We're just about done with Kansas. Looks like we have like 3 or 4 more provinces. Our efforts to remove the Cherokee from eastern lands has led to the deaths of many during their overland march westward. We did what we could. I mean, did we? I guess we technically did, at least in the game world. Oklahoma gets -3 standard of living for Cherokee for 5 years. Dissenters break ranks. So there's people in the armed forces fighting against a professional army. Make it make sense, please. I'm willing to spend, God, $5,200 a week for 2 years and still lose 10% enactment chance. Either way, this is hitting 0%. So I think we just have to say, we take the L on the professional army for now. We'll come back to you in a couple years. In terms of laws, well, we already have per capita. I meant proportional taxation. When I said I want per capita taxation. I mean, obviously, we eventually want to get universal suffrage. It's not a super priority, but we could do it right now. I think going straight to multiculturalism is a really good, because that'll make people want to move here. It'll increase migration. It'll reduce our authority, but that's okay. Again, it's probably too easy. Like, if we're going to ban slavery and just snap our fingers and now racism is gone too, you know, it's not that easy. But I'm not going to not take advantage of the mechanics the game is presenting to me in the current build. Also, how long is this? We're at 42 minutes. Oh my god. I meant to only go for 30 minutes. I sincerely apologize. So, I mean, that just shows how engrossing and how fun this game is. I hope you're having fun. I certainly am. We're taking some Canadian land, and we're almost done with Kansas, I guess, or is this is technically part of Kansas as well? So we're gonna ping pong back and forth, I guess. We're taking the Oklahoma Panhandle, and we're slowly manifesting our destiny. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys again in the next episode. Bye bye.